Welcome back to our debate about Pax Europiana, a strong European Union of 37 countries, and how we can manage the post-corona times and how we have to reform institutionally the European framework of institutions in the coming years to be more effective, provide better prosperity, be more inclusive, more open and stronger, and more relevant in the world. That's very important. We have this important 1st of May week, which is the big celebration, the European week in many aspects. And I would like to talk about the various days in this week and what is their significance, what is their meaning, and why it's so important to celebrate them on the right day, the right issue, and the right reason to celebrate. Yeah? It's very important to celebrate on the 5th of May this week the European Day of Human and Property Rights. This is a very important day where the Council of Europe was created in the year 49, and it's a very important day, but it's also called European Day. And this video basically is about why we have a European Day on the 5th of May and why on the 9th of May as well. Because basically it's two different institutions, the European Day of the Council of Europe and the European Day of the European Union, where we celebrate the Schuman Foundation. I will make a separate video about that one and release it on the 9th of May. What I would like to talk about is important that we don't celebrate just a European Day, but the European Day for Human and Property Rights, because this is very much the key contribution, the focus, the mission of the Council of Europe. That means basically to protect everybody's human rights, property rights in all Europe with all the members, with the 47. 47, you say? Yes, we have still 8 countries which should join. I have made the case already for Kosovo, for Belarus, unfortunately still not a member because of the death penalty issue. That needs to be clarified, fixed, forbidden, and then to join. And obviously the 5 Central Asian countries, and also they were also part of the Soviet Union and of the Russian Empire. In the same case, like Russia is now fully back, it's absolutely necessary also to include the Central Asian countries and also Mongolia. This might for some people be surprising, why Central Asia, Mongolia, but you know they are very deeply Europeanized countries in many aspects. And you know we shouldn't leave them just to the Russian orbit, because that's the alternative. Yeah? And if the Germans and French take in Russia as an aggressor state to the Council of Europe, let's not forget, that might be, I have already argued for it, justified to protect the human and property rights of the Russians, but you know then as well of the Kosovo people, of the Belarusians, of the Kazakhs and Kyrgyz, and also of the Mongolians. And all these 8 countries, so we will be 55. Never forget, and they are already member of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. So it's very, very reasonable and justified to include them. So it will be Council of Europe of 55. And then to have the clarity, the 1st of May is the day for European unity and enlargement. And let's time the future enlargement of the 9 countries always to be then valid on the 1st of May. And let's celebrate the unity of Europe on the 1st of May. The 3rd of May is the European Media Freedom Day, very much also a key mission of the Council of Europe. And also then the 5th of May is the European Day of Human and Property Rights. And also, I have already mentioned, should be a European commemoration day for the liberation of the concentration camp Mauthausen. And I think that's very fitting, the European Human and Property Rights Day, the day where we celebrate the Council of Europe achievements, but also the commemoration days of these big, horrible crimes which were committed under the atrocious regime of the Nazis. And the liberation again of that concentration camp, symbolizing all the other concentration camps. We have several days for that, I mentioned that already in the commemoration agenda. So then, we come to the 8th of May, which should have the official title of the European Liberation Day, where the Allies have liberated Europe from the Nazi terror regime and also ended World War II in Europe. The whole World War was ended on the 15th of August, and we have to be clear, because Russia tries to diffuse and complicate the narrative, but this day is the 8th of May and not the 9th of May. They can celebrate that in Russia if they want, but in Europe that's on the 8th of May. And on the 9th of May, we celebrate the very important day when the Schuman Declaration was made, and when basically the lessons of World War II were drawn by uniting Western Europe in the European Union and its predecessor organizations. Yeah? And that's on the 9th of May, and that should be the official date where we celebrate the European Union everywhere, as well in Russia, as well in the ex-Soviet area, as well in countries where this is still called Victory Day. Yes, victory for Europe. That's the idea. So celebrate the 9th of May and don't be appeasement-oriented, making excuses, celebrate it on the 15th or then the 20th. There's other issues to celebrate or to commemorate on these days, and the 9th of May is the day for the European Union. So this should be also very much made obligatory in all European Council of Europe members, in all future 55, but now in 17, and let's celebrate European human and property rights in Russia as well. So the appeasement factions has allowed now the Russians fully back in with voting rights into the Council of Europe. Good. It's very important to protect the property and human rights of the Russians, also of the occupied territories they claim to be Russia now, like Crimea. But please then Russia as well celebrate the European Human and Property Rights Day. It's not just a celebration of being in Europe, a European day. No, it's a celebration of these rights, of the rights of the human rights and of the property rights. And this we really, please, Russia, celebrate and tell it from Vladivostok to the Crimea to everybody that this is your commitment and these are the rights of all people who live in the Russian Federation, and there will be the rights for the people in Kosovo, in Belarus, also in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan as well. And it's very important to make this absolutely clear that these rights are not some kind of possibility. Rights are not options, but they are very clear rights which can be enforced, which have to be enforced, which are not to be traded in some kind of oil-funded compromises. No, they are true for everybody. If these 55 countries, they have the whole rights access and to the enforcement of these rights via the system of the Council of Europe, everywhere in the future 55, but today 47 member countries of the Council of Europe. And that will give the Council of Europe a very good and clear mission for the future, and to symbolize these changes and these improvements, moving out of the Azerbaijani corruption mess, moving out of this compromising with Russia. It's very important to move the Council of Europe away from Strasbourg towards Gdansk. And I will make a separate video about this one and release it in a new video. But this is the message now, 5th of May, the European Day for Human and Property Rights, celebrating the Foundation Day of the Council of Europe, and for a strong Council of Europe, with 55 members, with Kosovo, Belarus, and the Central Asian countries in the Council of Europe, and very much in favor of a long-term, strong future for the Council of Europe as a stronger and more viable institution than it's currently. Thanks a lot.